The blue light of the alien ship cast strange shadows across the walls, as Lily Baker moved silently through the abandoned space station. Her heart beat fast in her chest, but her hands remained steady. 6 months ago, she had been nothing more than a nurse at a small hospital in Iowa. Now she was humanity's last hope. The aliens called themselves the Zarelians. They had appeared in Earth's orbit without warning 3 months ago. Their ships were like nothing humans had ever built, massive structures that seemed to bend light around them. When they first made contact, they had seemed friendly. They offered knowledge and technology beyond human understanding. World leaders had welcomed them with open arms. That was before the truth came out. Lily pressed her back against a cold metal wall as she heard the heavy footsteps of a Zarelian patrol. The aliens were tall, with skin that glowed faintly in the darkness. Their eyes were large and black, set in narrow faces. They looked almost beautiful if you could forget what they had done. The Zarelians hadn't come to share knowledge. They had come to harvest. Humans had something the aliens needed. A rare protein in human blood that could extend Zarelian life by hundreds of years. Within weeks of their arrival, they had taken control of major cities. Thousands of humans were taken to processing centers. Few returned. The footsteps grew louder. Lily held her breath. She wasn't supposed to be here. This station, once a proud human achievement in space, had been taken by the aliens in the first days of their arrival. Now it served as a command post for their operations in North America. The patrol passed by without noticing her. Lily let out her breath slowly. She continued down the corridor, following the map in her head. The station was huge, but she had studied its layout for weeks. She knew exactly where she needed to go. At the end of the corridor was a door marked with strange symbols. This would be the command center. Lily checked the small device on her wrist, a clock counting down. She had 20 minutes before the others would begin their part of the plan. Lily wasn't alone in her mission. Across the globe, other women like her were positioning themselves in Zarelian strongholds. Patricia in London, Samantha in Tokyo, Kate in Sydney, all of them carrying the same gift, the same weapon. The scientists had discovered it by accident. A genetic mutation found in less than 1% of the population. People whose touch could disrupt the electrical signals in Zarelian technology. People who could, with training, control this ability to shut down entire systems. Most of these people were women. Nobody knew why. Lily flexed her fingers, feeling the familiar tingle of energy under her skin. The first time it had happened, she had been caring for a wounded Zarelian brought to her hospital. When she touched its skin, its communication device had sparked and died. The alien had looked at her with something like fear in its large black eyes. That was when the resistance had found her. They had taught her how to control her ability, how to direct it at specific systems, how to use it as a weapon. The door to the command center was locked, but that didn't matter. Lily placed her palm against the control panel. She closed her eyes, focusing her energy. She felt the current flowing through the circuits, felt the patterns of energy that made up the locking mechanism. With a gentle push of her mind, she redirected that energy. The door slid open. Inside, 3 Zarelians turned to look at her. Their surprise was visible even on their alien faces. One of them reached for a weapon. "I wouldn't do that," Lily said calmly. The alien hesitated. They knew about humans like her now. They had been hunting them for weeks. "You are making a mistake," said one of the aliens. Its voice was like music, beautiful and terrible at the same time. "Your kind cannot win this war." "We're not trying to win the war," Lily replied. "Not yet. First, we're just trying to send a message." She stepped further into the room, her hands held out before her. The aliens backed away. They knew what she could do with those hands. "Your people took something from us," Lily continued. "Today, we take something from you." She moved to the central console of the command center. This was what she had come for, the main communication hub linking all Zarelian forces on Earth. The aliens watched her, unable to stop what was about to happen. Lily placed both hands on the console. She felt the vast network of energy flowing through it, connecting to ships and bases across the planet. She took a deep breath and released her power. The effect was immediate. Lights flickered. Screens went dark. The gentle hum of technology that filled the station stuttered and died. The aliens made sounds of distress as their equipment failed around them, but Lily wasn't finished. This was more than just shutting down their systems. She had been trained to do something much more specific. As her power flowed into the network, She began to rewrite its programming. A message, encoded in the Zarelian language, would now be broadcast to every alien on Earth. "We are not your cattle," the message would say. "We will not be harvested. For every human you take, we will shut down another of your bases. This is your only warning." One of the aliens lunged toward her, desperate to stop what she was doing. Without removing her hands from the console, Lily turned her gaze on the creature. The lights on its suit flickered and died. The alien froze, suddenly cut off from its own technology. In the distance, alarms began to sound. Her presence had been noticed. Soon the station would be swarming with Zarelian soldiers. But it was too late. The message had been sent. All across Earth, other women like her would be doing the same thing. For the first time since the invasion began, the aliens would know fear. Lily stepped away from the console. Her job was done. Now came the hard part, getting off the station alive. She turned to the 3 stunned aliens. "Tell your leaders," she said. "Tell them what happened here. Tell them about me." Then she turned and ran. Behind her, the command center fell into chaos as systems failed and emergency protocols activated. Ahead of her lay the path to the escape pods. If she could reach them, she might make it back to Earth, back to the Resistance, back to prepare for the next phase of the war. As she ran, Lily thought of her old life. The hospital. Her small apartment. The normal world that had been shattered when the aliens came. She wondered if things would ever be normal again. Probably not. But perhaps if their plan worked, there would be a world for humans again. A world free from alien harvesters. A world where people like her, people with the touch, could help rebuild what had been lost. For now, though, she just needed to survive. Alarms blared throughout the space station as Lily raced toward the escape pods. Red emergency lights flashed along the corridors, casting everything in a bloody glow. Behind her, she could hear the heavy footsteps of Zarelian guards giving chase. The station was in chaos. Her message had done more than just communicate with the aliens. It had disrupted their systems across the entire structure. Doors opened and closed at random. Gravity fluctuated in certain sections. The perfect distraction for her escape. Lily turned a corner and nearly collided with 2 Zarelian guards. Their black eyes widened at the sight of her. One reached for the weapon at its side. Lily didn't hesitate. She lunged forward, placing her palm against the chest plate of the alien's armor. She felt her power surge through her fingers, disrupting the electrical systems that powered their suits. The lights on the alien's armor flickered and died. Its weapon, connected to the same power source, became useless. The second guard backed away, suddenly wary. These aliens had been told about humans like Lily, humans who could turn their own technology against them. The guard turned and fled, likely to summon reinforcements. Lily continued her sprint toward the escape pods. According to the station schematic she had memorized, she was close. Just 2 more sections to go. As she ran, her mind flashed back to her training with the Resistance. Hundreds of women and a few men with the same ability, gathered in an underground facility in what used to be Nebraska. They had spent weeks learning to control their power, to focus it, to use it with precision. Her trainer had been Maria, a tough former military officer who had discovered her own ability when the aliens first attacked her base. "Your power isn't just about shutting things down," Maria had told them. "It's about control, understanding the flow of energy and redirecting it. You can turn off a light or you can make it brighter. You can disable a weapon or you can make it overload." Those lessons had saved Lily's life more than once since she'd been chosen for this mission. She reached the final corridor leading to the escape pods. Just ahead, she could see the airlock doors. Freedom was close. Then the doors slid shut. Lily skidded to a halt. This wasn't a malfunction. Someone was controlling the station systems deliberately. She reached out with her power, trying to override the door controls, but met resistance. Another consciousness, alien and cold, pushed back against her. "You cannot escape." The voice came from behind her. Lily turned slowly to face a Zarelian unlike any she had seen before. Taller than the others, with skin that shimmered with internal light. Its eyes weren't solid black, but had flecks of gold that seemed to move and swirl. "I am Celine, commander of this station," the alien said. Its voice was melodic but edged with steel. "And you are one of the disruptors." Lily stood her ground, though fear made her heart race. "That's not what we call ourselves." "What you call yourselves is irrelevant," Celine replied. "You are an unexpected development in our harvest. A problem to be solved? The alien took a step closer. Lily noticed that, unlike the other Xerelians, this one wore no visible technology. No armor, no weapons, nothing she could affect with her power. Your abilities are impressive, Celine continued, but limited. You affect our technology, yes. You can send your little messages, but you cannot stop us. Lily felt other aliens approaching from behind. She was surrounded. Today was just the beginning, Lily said, trying to keep her voice steady. There are more of us than you know, and we're learning, getting stronger. Celine tilted her head, a gesture almost human in its curiosity. Perhaps. But you will not be part of that future. The alien raised a hand, and Lily felt a strange pressure in her mind. Not physical, but something else. The Xerelians had abilities of their own, it seemed. Lily fought against the pressure, focusing on her own power. She might not be able to affect Celine directly, but the station around them was full of systems she could control. With a surge of desperate energy, Lily reached out to everything electronic within her range. Lights, doors, air filtration systems. She grabbed control of them all at once. It was more than she had ever attempted before, and pain lanced through her head at the effort. The corridor plunged into darkness. Emergency bulkheads slammed down, separating Lily from the aliens behind Celine. Alarms wailed with renewed intensity. In the confusion, Lily lunged forward past Celine toward the escape pod doors. She placed both hands on the control panel and pushed every ounce of her power into it. The metal grew hot beneath her palms, but she didn't let go. With a hiss of hydraulics, the doors slid open. Lily dashed inside the escape pod. The interior was designed for Xerelian physiology, with seats too large for her human frame. She ignored them, heading straight for the launch controls. Behind her, Celine had reached the doors. The alien commander stood watching her, making no move to enter the pod. "This changes nothing," Celine said. "Your resistance is merely a delay of the inevitable." Lily's fingers flew over the alien controls, her power helping her interface with the unfamiliar technology. "Maybe, but we humans are good at surviving the inevitable." She found the launch sequence and activated it. The doors began to close. The last thing she saw was Celine's face, those golden-flecked eyes studying her with something like respect. Then the doors sealed, and the escape pod ejected from the station with a violent jerk that threw Lily against the wall. Through a viewport, she watched as the massive Xerelian station grew smaller behind her. Her pod was heading toward Earth, its course locked in. Lily slumped to the floor, exhaustion washing over her. Using her power at such intensity had drained her physically. She could feel blood trickling from her nose, a common side effect of overexertion according to her trainers. But she had done it. The message had been sent, and she was still alive to fight another day. As Earth grew larger in the viewport, Lily thought about what would happen next. The Xerelians wouldn't take this attack lying down. They would retaliate, probably against civilian targets. The Resistance had known this would happen. It was a calculated risk. Sometimes you had to provoke the enemy to learn their weaknesses. The real question was whether the other teams had succeeded in their missions. Patricia in London, Samantha in Tokyo, Kate in Sydney. If they had all delivered the same message to Xerelian command centers across the globe, the aliens would know this wasn't an isolated incident. They would know that humans had found a weapon against them. The pod began to shake as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Lily strapped herself into one of the oversized seats as best she could. The heat of re-entry turned the viewport orange. She closed her eyes and held on. Minutes later, she felt the jolt as the pod's parachutes deployed. The descent slowed. Through the viewport, she could see clouds, then land masses. The pod systems were guiding it toward the designated rendezvous point, a stretch of desert in what used to be Arizona. With a bone-jarring impact, the pod landed. Dust swirled outside the viewport. Lily waited for the external atmosphere sensors to confirm the air was breathable, then triggered the door release. Sunlight streamed in as the door opened. Lily shielded her eyes against the glare. After so long in the artificial light of the space station, natural sunlight felt strange against her skin. She stepped out onto Earth soil, scanning the horizon. No sign of the extraction team yet. She would have to wait. Lily sat on a rock near the pod, looking up at the blue sky. Somewhere up there, Celine and the other Xerelians would be planning their response to today's attack. The real war was just beginning. But for the first time since the aliens had arrived, Lily felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. The resistance base was hidden deep underground, beneath the ruins of what had once been a small university town. 3 days had passed since Lily's escape from the Zorellian space station. 3 days of debriefing, medical exams, and restless sleep, filled with dreams of golden-flecked eyes watching her. Lily sat in the main command center, a repurposed lecture hall now filled with salvaged computer equipment. Around her, dozens of resistance members worked at various stations, monitoring communications, coordinating supply runs, and tracking Zorellian movements. Maria approached, her face grim. The former military officer had aged years in the months since the invasion began. The others made it back, she said, sitting beside Lily. Patricia, Samantha, Kate, all successful. Lily felt a surge of relief. And the message? Delivered to every Zorellian command center on Earth. Maria's mouth twitched in a rare smile. You should have seen their communications afterward. Complete chaos. How bad was the retaliation? Maria's smile faded. About what we expected. They hit 3 population centers, one in Europe, one in Asia, one in South America. Took thousands for processing. The weight of those lives pressed down on Lily's shoulders. People taken because of what she and the others had done. But it had been necessary. The resistance had known there would be consequences. We also got what we wanted, Maria continued, noting Lily's expression. The Zorellians revealed something important during their retaliation. Their processing centers all operate on the same power grid. It's separate from their other systems. More secure, but also more vulnerable if we can access it. How does that help us? Maria tapped a tablet, bringing up schematics on the screen. Because now we have a real target. Not just sending messages, but actually stopping the harvesting. If we can disrupt that power grid, we could free thousands of captives, maybe shut down their entire operation on Earth. Lily studied the schematics. The power grid seemed to center on 7 main stations, one on each continent, heavily guarded, no doubt. You want to hit all 7 at once, she guessed. Maria nodded. Exactly. But it's going to take more than just the 4 of you. We need everyone with the ability. Lily thought about the other disruptors, and the term the Zorellians had used was starting to stick. There were maybe 100 identified worldwide. Most were still in training. When? She asked. 2 weeks, Maria replied. That's how long it will take to get everyone in position. In the meantime, we need to gather more intelligence, specifically about these. She handed Lily another tablet. On it was an image of a Zorellian like Celine, tall with that same internal glow and eyes flecked with gold. Command cast, Maria explained. Like the one you encountered on the station. They don't use external technology the way the others do. They have some kind of internal systems. Biological tech, maybe. And they have abilities of their own. Mental abilities. Lily remembered the pressure she had felt in her mind when Celine had raised her hand. I felt it. Like she was trying to get inside my head. We think they're the real power behind the invasion. The others are just soldiers and workers. These are the ones making the decisions. Maria's expression hardened, and they're especially interested in disruptors. They've been hunting for you 4 since your escape. A chill ran through Lily. Why not just kill us when they had the chance? Celine could have. That's what we need to find out. Maria stood. Get some rest. Tomorrow you start special training. If you're going to face these command casts again, you need to be prepared. After Maria left, Lily remained in the command center, studying the image of the Zorellian commander. Something about those eyes haunted her, not just their strange beauty, but what she had seen in them. Not hatred or anger, but curiosity. Almost like Celine had been studying a fascinating specimen. The next morning, Lily reported to a section of the base she had never visited before. The door was marked simply, Research. Inside, she found a laboratory filled with equipment she didn't recognize. Some looked human in origin, some decidedly alien. Patricia was already there. The British woman had been a physicist before the invasion. She looked up as Lily entered, her face breaking into a tired smile. The hero returns, Patricia said. Heard you had a close encounter with one of the Golden Eyes. Lily shrugged. Closer than I would have liked. Same here. Patricia tapped her temple. Had one try to get in my head in London. Felt like ice spreading through my brain. Before Lily could respond, the door opened again. A woman Lily didn't recognize entered. She was older with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. I'm Dr. Eleanor Wright, she said without preamble. Before the world went to hell, I was studying neurological responses to electrical stimulation. Now I study you." She gestured for Lily and Patricia to follow her deeper into the lab. They passed workstations with microscopes, brain scanning equipment, and containers holding what looked like tissue samples. They stopped at a table where something was covered with a sheet. Dr. Wright pulled the sheet back to reveal the body of a Xerelian. Not one of the command caste, but a regular soldier. Its skin had lost its glow in death, turning a dull blue-gray. "This is what we know," Dr. Wright began. "Regular Xerelians are heavily integrated with their technology. Implants throughout their bodies. Communication systems. Weapons interfaces. All susceptible to your abilities." She moved to another table and pulled back another sheet. Both Lily and Patricia gasped. This Xerelian was different. Taller, with that distinctive internal luminescence still visible even in death. A command caste. "This one is different," Dr. Wright continued. "No external tech. No implants we can detect, but their biology is extraordinary. Their cells appear to function partly like organic tissue, partly like microprocessors. Their entire nervous system acts as an integrated biological computer. That's why our abilities don't work on them directly," Patricia murmured. "Precisely." Dr. Wright nodded approvingly. "Your power disrupts electrical systems, but their systems are both electrical and biological. Too complex for your current abilities to affect." "Current abilities?" Lily caught the phrasing. "You mean we could develop more?" Dr. Wright's eyes gleamed with scientific excitement. "That's exactly what I mean. Your powers are evolving. Every time you use them, your neural pathways adapt, strengthen. You're capable of much more than simply shorting out alien tech." She led them to a third area of the lab, where equipment had been set up around 2 chairs. "This is why you're here," she explained. "I've developed a training program that might help accelerate that evolution. Push your abilities to new levels." Lily exchanged glances with Patricia. "What kind of new levels?" "Ideally, the ability to affect the command caste directly, to disrupt not just external technology, but their internal biological systems as well." The implications were enormous. If disruptors could affect the command caste directly, they would have a real weapon against the Xerelian leadership. "Is it dangerous?" Patricia asked. Dr. Wright didn't sugarcoat her answer. "Yes. We'll be stimulating areas of your brain responsible for your abilities, pushing them beyond their normal parameters. There could be side effects, headaches, nosebleeds, possibly seizures in extreme cases." "And if we don't do it?" Lily asked. "Then we stick to the original plan. Attack the processing centers. Free as many humans as we can, but the command caste will remain untouchable." Dr. Wright's expression softened slightly. "I won't force either of you. This is volunteer only." Lily thought about Celine, about those golden-flecked eyes watching her with scientific curiosity, as if she were nothing more than an interesting insect, about the thousands taken for processing because of their message, "I'm in," she said. Patricia nodded. "Me too," Dr. Wright smiled grimly. "Excellent. We begin immediately." The training was more grueling than anything Lily had experienced before. Each day began with hours in Dr. Wright's lab, electrodes attached to her scalp, pushing her abilities to their limits and beyond. Then physical training with Maria, ensuring she would be fit enough for the mission ahead. Evenings were spent studying Xerelian biology and technology, learning everything they knew about the enemy. Days blended into one another. Lily's nose bled almost constantly now. Headaches plagued her, but she could feel her power growing, changing. Where before she had sensed only external electrical systems, now she could feel the subtle bioelectrical fields of the humans around her. Not enough to affect them. Human biology was still too different from her abilities, but it was a start. 1 week into the training, during a rare moment of rest, Lily found Patricia sitting alone in the base's small dining area. "How are you holding up?" Lily asked, sitting across from her. Patricia looked exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. "Been better. You?" "About the same." Lily pushed her food around on her plate, not really hungry. "Do you think it's working?" "Hard to say." Patricia closed her eyes briefly. "I can feel more, like my senses are expanding. But I don't know if it will be enough against them." Lily understood exactly what she meant. The command caste were powerful in ways they were only beginning to comprehend. And time was running out. In one more week, they would launch their attack on the processing centers. The extraction team moved silently through the ruins of Chicago. Once a proud metropolis, the city was now a shadow of its former self. Cerulean processing centers dominated the downtown area, massive structures that hummed with alien energy. Around them, humans moved like ghosts, those not yet taken for harvesting but living under constant threat. Lily crouched behind a collapsed wall, watching the nearest processing center through specialized binoculars. 5 other team members waited with her, all trained fighters. Only Lily had the disruptor ability. Each of the 7 target facilities around the world had a similar team, with one disruptor as the centerpiece. "Movement at the east entrance," whispered Tanya, the team leader. A former Special Forces operative, she had been coordinating resistance efforts in the Chicago area since the invasion. "Patrol coming out." Lily lowered her binoculars as everyone pressed deeper into the shadows. A group of Zorelian soldiers emerged from the processing center, their armor gleaming in the dim evening light. They moved with mechanical precision, scanning the surroundings as they began their patrol route. "Standard pattern," Tanya noted after they had passed. "They'll circle the building once, then split into 2 groups to cover the wider perimeter." The plan was simple but dangerous. Wait until midnight when the guard rotation would create a brief window of reduced security. Enter the facility through a maintenance tunnel that resistance informants had identified. Reach the power core. Lily would use her abilities to overload it, shutting down not just this facility but hopefully the entire processing network. All 7 teams worldwide would strike simultaneously. If even one succeeded, it could free thousands of captive humans. If all 7 succeeded, it might cripple the Zorelian harvesting operation entirely. 2 hours until go time, Tanya said, checking her watch. "Everyone rest while you can. Final equipment check in 90 minutes. The team settled into watchful waiting. Lily closed her eyes, not to sleep, but to center herself. The 2 weeks of intensive training had changed her in ways she was still discovering. Her power felt different now, more fluid, more responsive to her will. She could sense electrical systems from greater distances and with more precision. But the real test would come when she faced the Zorelian power core, and possibly members of the command cast. "You okay?" It was Mika, the team's medic. She had been watching Lily with concern. Lily opened her eyes. "I'm fine." "Your nose is bleeding again," Mika pointed out gently. Lily touched her upper lip, fingers coming away red. She accepted the tissue Mika offered with a nod of thanks. The nosebleeds were happening more frequently now, along with the headaches. Dr. Wright had warned them this might happen as their abilities evolved. "Does it hurt?" Mika asked, keeping her voice low so the others wouldn't hear. "Only when I think." Lily attempted a smile. Mika didn't smile back. "Seriously?" "Rate it 1 to 10. 6, Lily admitted after a moment. "It's manageable." Mika reached into her pack and handed Lily 2 pills. "This should take the edge off without clouding your thinking." Lily swallowed the pills dry. "Thanks. Just do your part and get out alive," Mika said. "We're all counting on you." The next hour passed in tense silence. The team checked and rechecked their equipment, specially designed non-electronic weapons, communication devices that operated on frequencies the Zorelians couldn't detect, and light-absorbing bodysuits that would help them move unseen in the shadows. At exactly 11:45 p.m., Tanya gave the signal to move out. The team slipped from their hiding spot and made their way through the ruins, staying low and moving only when the Zorelian patrols were facing away. They reached the maintenance tunnel entrance, a narrow opening partially hidden by debris. One by one, they squeezed inside. The tunnel was tight, barely large enough for humans to crawl through. For the taller Zorelians, it would be nearly impassable, which was why security here was minimal. Lily went third in line, with Tanya leading and Rico, their demolitions expert, just ahead of her. The tunnel smelled of dust and alien chemicals. Their headlamps provided the only light, casting long shadows as they crawled forward. After what felt like hours but was probably only 15 minutes, they reached a junction. According to their intelligence, the left path would take them to a maintenance room connected to the main facility. Tanya held up a hand, signaling a halt. She pressed a small device to her ear, listening to communications from the other teams around the world. After a moment, she nodded. "All teams in position," she whispered. "Tokyo and Sydney teams already inside their facilities. We proceed on schedule. They continued down the left tunnel. Lily felt the familiar tingle in her fingertips as they got closer to the alien technology. Her senses, enhanced by the training, could detect the power flowing through the walls around them. The tunnel ended at a metal grate. Beyond it was a dimly lit room filled with alien machinery. Tanya used a specialized tool to silently cut through the grate's fastenings. When it was loose, Rico carefully removed it and set it aside. One by one, they climbed into the maintenance room. Lily immediately felt the presence of Zorelian technology all around her. Not just the machines, but the very walls seemed to pulse with alien energy. This close to so much of their tech, her power responded automatically, making her skin tingle all over. "Which way to the core?" Tanya asked her. This was where Lily's abilities became crucial. She closed her eyes, extending her senses outward, feeling for the largest concentration of energy. "This way," she said after a moment, pointing to a door on the far side of the room, down 3 levels, then east. They moved through the facility like ghosts, avoiding patrols when possible, silently neutralizing the few guards they couldn't avoid. Lily led them unerringly toward the power core, guided by her ability to sense the energy flows. As they descended deeper into the facility, Lily became aware of something else, a different kind of energy signature. Not mechanical, but biological, complex and intricate in a way that made her brain hurt to focus on it. Command cast. "We're not alone," she whispered to Tanya. "There's at least one of the golden eyes nearby." Tanya's expression hardened. "How close to the core?" Lily concentrated again. "Very, I think they're in the core room itself." This wasn't unexpected. Their intelligence had suggested that command cast Zorelians often supervised the most critical systems personally. But it complicated things. Lily's new abilities might affect them, but it wasn't guaranteed. "Stick to the plan," Tanya decided. "We get you to the core. You do what you can. If the golden eye interferes, we handle it." Lily nodded, though privately she doubted conventional weapons would be much use against the command cast. Their biological technology made them formidable opponents. They continued downward, eventually reaching a massive door that glowed with internal light. The power core was just beyond. "This is it," Lily said. "I can feel the core. It's incredible. More powerful than anything I've sensed before." "Can you open the door?" Tanya asked. Lily placed her hands against the door's surface. It wasn't like regular Zorelian technology, it felt almost alive, pulsing beneath her touch. She closed her eyes, focusing her ability, searching for the patterns in the energy flow. There. The locking mechanism was complex but recognizable. Lily sent a surge of her power into it, redirecting the energy pathways, convincing the door that it should open. With a soft hum, the massive door began to slide open. The room beyond was unlike anything Lily had seen before. The power core itself was a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with blue-white energy. It filled the center of the circular room, reaching from floor to ceiling. Around it, control stations were manned by regular Zorelians, their fingers dancing over alien interfaces, and standing directly before the core, as if waiting for them, was a command-cast Zorelian. Not Celine, but similar, tall and elegant, with skin that glowed from within and those distinctive golden-flecked eyes. The alien regarded them calmly, showing no surprise at their intrusion. "The disruptor," the Zorelian said, its melodic voice carrying easily across the room. "We have been expecting you." The regular Zorelians at the control stations reached for weapons, but the command cast raised a hand, stopping them. "Let them enter," it said. "I wish to observe." Tanya signaled the team to spread out, covering all angles. Lily stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the command cast Zorelian. "You know why we're here," she said. "To attempt to disable our processing network." The alien's head tilted slightly. "A futile effort, but interesting nonetheless. Your kind continues to surprise us with your adaptability." "It won't be futile," Lily replied, taking another step toward the core. She could feel its energy calling to her, resonating with her own power. "We're shutting you down. All of you. Worldwide." The Zorelian's expression remained impassive. "Your abilities have grown. Remarkable, but still insufficient." Without warning, Lily felt that now familiar pressure in her mind, the alien attempting to exert some kind of mental control. But this time, instead of fighting against it directly, Lily channeled her power in a new way, just as Dr. Wright had taught her. She visualized the alien's bioelectrical field, so different from human neurology but still based on electrical. 3 months had passed since the coordinated attack on the Zarelian processing centers. 3 months of change, adaptation, and a new kind of war. Lily stood on a hillside overlooking what had once been Denver. The city was different now, partly in ruins from Zarelian retaliation strikes but also transformed by human ingenuity. Solar arrays and wind turbines dotted the landscape, providing power for the resistance enclave that had formed here. Gardens grew on rooftops and in parks, supplying food. Children played in protected areas, guarded by both human soldiers and automated defense systems designed to detect Zarelian bioelectrical signatures. It wasn't just Denver. Similar enclaves had sprung up around the world, free zones where humans lived outside Zarelian control. Not completely safe, but safer than the occupied territories. The attack on the processing centers had worked better than anyone had dared hope. All 7 targets had been destroyed, along with the power network that connected them. Thousands of captive humans had been freed in the chaos that followed. The Zarelians' harvesting operation had been set back months, possibly years, but as the command cast had warned, the aliens had adapted. Without the processing centers, they had become more aggressive, more direct in their approach. Raids on human settlements were common now. Those taken rarely returned. The Zarelians were still harvesting, just in a less efficient, more brutal manner. Deep thoughts? Lily turned to see Patricia walking up the hill to join her. The British physicist looked healthier than she had during their training. Her skin had regained its color, and the constant exhaustion had faded from her eyes. Just thinking about how much has changed, Lily replied. Patricia nodded, looking out over the transformed city. It's not what I expected, to be honest. I thought we'd either win completely or lose completely. Instead, we're in this stalemate. That was an accurate assessment. The Zarelians couldn't process humans in large numbers anymore, but they still controlled most major cities and resources. Humans had carved out free zones and developed new ways to fight back, but couldn't drive the aliens off Earth entirely. Dr. Wright wants to see us, Patricia said after a moment. Says she's made a breakthrough. Lily raised an eyebrow. About our abilities? What else? Patricia grinned. The woman is obsessed, though I can't complain about the results. They walked together down the hill toward the research facility that had been established in the enclave. Like everything in the free zones, it was a mixture of salvaged human technology and adapted Zarelian tech. The latter, possible only because of disruptors, like Lily and Patricia. Their abilities had continued to evolve in the months since the attack. Most disruptors could now affect simple Zarelian biological systems as well as their technology. Some, like Lily, could even temporarily neutralize command cast mental abilities. It had changed the balance of power significantly. Dr. Wright was waiting for them in her lab. The older woman looked excited, practically bouncing with energy as they entered. There you are, she exclaimed. I was about to send someone to find you. Come, you need to see this. She led them to a workstation where complex data scrolled across multiple screens. Lily recognized some of it as brain scans, her own based on the patterns. I've been analyzing your neural activity during your recent training sessions, Dr. Wright explained. And I've found something extraordinary. She tapped a sequence on a keyboard, bringing up a 3-dimensional model of what appeared to be a human brain, with certain areas highlighted in red and blue. This is your brain, Lily, Dr. Wright said. Specifically, this is your brain when you're using your abilities at their fullest extent. She tapped another key, and the model changed slightly. Certain pathways glowing brighter, new connections forming between different regions. And this is what your brain looks like now compared to 6 months ago. The changes are subtle but significant. Your neural architecture is reorganizing itself, creating new pathways specifically designed to channel and control your abilities. Patricia leaned closer to the screen. It's evolving. Precisely. Dr. Wright beamed at her. Not just adapting, but actively evolving to optimize for these new functions. And the rate of change is accelerating. Lily studied the brain model, trying to understand the implications. What does this mean for us? For our abilities? It means you're just scratching the surface of what you might be capable of. Dr. Wright's eyes gleamed with scientific excitement. The command-cast Zarelians have biological technology integrated into their very cells. Based on these neural changes, I believe you may eventually be able to affect them as directly as you can, their external technology. The possibilities were staggering. If disruptors could neutralize command cast Zarelians completely, the Resistance would have a genuine advantage for the first time. How long? Patricia asked. Hard to say. At the current rate of neural evolution, perhaps another 6 months, but… Dr. Wright hesitated. But what? Lily prompted. I think I might be able to accelerate the process. With a specialized neural stimulator calibrated to encourage these specific pathways to develop faster. She pointed to a device on another workbench that looked like a high-tech helmet. It could cut the time down to weeks instead of months. What's the catch? Lily asked, knowing there would be one. Dr. Wright's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. It's not without risk. We'd be artificially accelerating neural development. Best case, it works perfectly and gives you enhanced abilities sooner. Worst case, brain damage, Patricia finished flatly. Potentially, yes. Though I've built in multiple safeguards. Dr. Wright looked between them. I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't think it was reasonably safe. And given what we're facing, the potential benefits seem worth the risk. Before either of them could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Red warning lights began to flash in the corridors outside. Proximity alert, Dr. Wright said, suddenly tense. Zorelians! Lily and Patricia exchanged glances. The Enclave hadn't been attacked directly in over a month. The defensive perimeter usually detected Zorelian patrols long before they got this close. They hurried from the lab toward the command center. The corridors were filled with people moving purposefully to their assigned positions. Civilians heading to shelters, fighters preparing to defend the Enclave. Despite the alarm, there was no panic. Everyone knew their role in these situations. The command center was a hive of activity when they arrived. Maria stood at the central table studying a holographic display that showed the Enclave and surrounding area. What's happening? Lily asked, joining her. Zorelian force approaching from the east, Maria replied, not looking up. But it's odd. It's not a standard raid pattern. Just one ship moving slowly, almost like they want us to see them coming, Patricia finished. Maria nodded grimly. Exactly. Lily studied the display. The Zorelian ship was indeed moving slowly toward the Enclave, making no attempt to conceal its approach. It was smaller than their usual assault vessels, more like a shuttle. Could be a trap, one of the tactical officers suggested. Draw our attention to the ship while a ground force approaches from another direction. Perimeter sensors show nothing else moving within 10 miles, another officer reported. Keep scanning, Maria ordered, and bring all defense systems to full readiness. As they watched, the alien ship continued its approach until it reached the edge of the Enclave's defensive perimeter. There it stopped, hovering. They're just sitting there, Patricia murmured. Why? A communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from the ship. It's on our frequency. Maria's eyebrows shot up. The Resistance changed communication frequencies regularly to prevent Zorelian interception. For them to be using a current frequency suggested they either had a spy in the Enclave or… Put it through, Maria ordered. Audio only. The officer tapped at his console. A moment later, a familiar melodic voice filled the command center. Attention, Human Resistance Enclave. This is Commander Celine of the Zorelian Exploration Force. I come alone and unarmed. I request parley with the one you call Lily Baker. A shocked silence fell over the command center. All eyes turned to Lily. It's a trap, Maria said immediately. Has to be. Maybe, Lily agreed. But why go to all this trouble? They could just attack the Enclave directly if they wanted to. She said she's alone, Patricia pointed out. That seems unlikely. Scan the ship, Maria ordered. Full spectrum. The technical officers worked their stations. After a moment, one looked up in surprise. Bioscan shows only one Zorelian life sign aboard. Command cast based on the signature, and the ship is powered down. Weapon systems offline. Maria frowned, clearly suspicious. She could have technology we can't detect. Probably, Lily agreed. But I still want to know why she's here. Before Maria could object, Lily leaned over and pressed the communication button. This is Lily Baker. Why should we trust you enough to meet? There was a brief pause before Celine's voice came again. Because I bring information vital to the survival of both our species. The matriarch has initiated the cleansing protocol. If it is not stopped, this planet will be sterilized completely, Zorelian and human alike. Another shocked silence fell over the command center. What is the cleansing protocol? Lily asked.